Okay, thank you. So it is 5 o'clock, and Brandino, would you like to begin?
Sure. Yep. I think we're fine. I think we're here today for a presentation to the board on project management groups for the capital projects management. So looking forward to seeing what we have in store for us today, and I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Prine, and to our first group.
Okay, thank you very much. And our first group, let me just pull this up here, is the Weneha group. So I just want to tell you the process that we went through. We had 9 RFQs, requests for qualifications submitted. And out of those 9, we interviewed 4. And out of those 4, we chose 2 groups. And the selection committee consisted of John McCandy, our Director of Facilities and Operations, Darlene Applin, who is our Director of Finances, myself, and then we had Steve McIntyre, who helps us in the business office from time to time and was involved in the very first project. Well, he was in the last capital projects, not the first capital projects, but the last capital projects that ended in 2021. It was passed in 2017. So anyway, we've narrowed it to 2. This is the Weneha group, and I will turn it over to them so I don't take any more of their time.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Good evening, school board members and staff. We really appreciate this opportunity to make it this far in your selection process for your capital management services for project management. My name is Rob Quimps. I'm the principal owner of Weneha Group, and I am a tribal member from the Umatilla Indian Reservation in Eastern Oregon, and I live over here in Western Washington. Just right outside of Tacoma. So it gives me great honor to be able to find rural, smaller school districts in Western Washington. We really find that our biggest niche is with tribes and with K through 12 rural school districts. So we appreciate this opportunity. And I won't take up any more time, and I will pass this on to Keith and let the rest of our team move forward with the presentation. So thank you very much. Keith, I think you muted.
There we go. All right. Can you hear me? Got it. Yep. Thank you. All right. Does Tracy have the clicker, or are you pushing forward for us, Tracy?
I can happily do that, or I can give you control, whatever you would prefer.
Oh, you did give me control. Okay, let's see if this. I didn't get it. Let's see. I'll request control. All right. Tell you what, it's not working for me. Would you mind just pushing forward a slide?
You bet.
Thank you. All right, so as Rob mentioned, he's one of the founding owners, and one of the things the company is built on is our guiding principles. We're not going to take a lot of time here. We're a little pushed, but this is the foundation of how we interact in business, in our personal lives, and in our relationships that we'll have with you. Each of these values guides us and leads us in the decisions we make, the relationships we build, and frankly, the clients that we choose to work with. So as Rob said, K-12 is one of our major markets in the rural area. And, you know, Heath has been steeped in that. I'll introduce Heath in a little bit. It's been his world. He's lived it and loved it. So we're happy to be here and present this to you. If you'll go forward, Tracy. So our team that we've got here with you today, Rob Quimps, who's introduced himself. My name is Keith Baines. I'm Senior Project Manager. I am also located in Tacoma, 30 years in construction, working currently in SQUIM, JST, the Jamestown Tribe on one of their projects with Chris. And I'll just introduce Heath and Chris for the sake of time. And Heath Gardner is, like I said, steeped in health, or excuse me, in education K-12, 20 plus years in construction. Most of us come, like Heath, from the general contracting background way back in our history, or some more recent. But we bring that boots on the ground, just solve it and move on approach. And then Chris Marfori is our day-to-day guy for this project. He'd be interacting with your staff as needed and day-to-day to deliver the projects. And then the fifth position that you see on here is a to-be-determined project coordinator. So that position, we often find a desire and an opportunity within a project team to create a local position to support Chris and myself and Heath in the day-to-day delivery of the project, that also allows us to train a local resource and a local asset to the community. Usually that's looked upon as a reinvestment in the community and as a positive long-term aspect to the project. So all depends on the project and the need. We're not going to load a staff we don't need. We're going to respect the funding and the use of those funds, but if the opportunity is there, we certainly grab it. All right, Tracy, go ahead and go forward. Now I'll pass it off to Chris and Heath to walk through the why Weneha, and then they'll get it back to me and we'll do our wrap up. So guys, we're at 5:07. So keep focused on time and respect the time allotted, and we'll keep going. Chris.
Thanks, Keith. Thank you again to the school board for allowing us this opportunity. Now, to address the question, why Weneha Group to perform your project management services? As Keith mentioned, my name is Chris Marfori, and I'll probably be the most common face you see through the duration of these services. Like any start of a relationship, one of the keys to success is starts with listening and learning. You know what you want. You guys have presented what you want. We heard some of it within the original interview, but one of the things we want to know is we need to know what that is and why you intend to do it. It's vital for us to learn and understand what the school district's expectations are, what your priorities are, your concerns, the goals, and the measures of success that you will be setting forth for us throughout the next 4 years on these services. One of the things that we concern ourselves with is making sure that we're implementing not just a service based on industry standard, but one that matches and is tailored to the needs of the school district. There's a big difference between what you may be looking for and requesting, especially with some of the services, including the roof replacements and the HVAC upgrades, that may not be expecting the same. You want something more personal, more tailored, and the community may expect something different than, say, someone looking at Tacoma School District. And it's for us to understand what those are and understand how you view them in order to give you the best services possible. Currently, I'm working with the Jamestown Sklallam Tribe at the MAT Clinic. I know pretty much everybody online is aware of that. And one of the things that's allowed me to do is be part of the local community and starting to get engaged with the players who will be helping and serving these projects, specifically PUD, City of Sequim, talking with Wave and CenturyLink, unfortunately. But the people who will be the players to help get these projects completed, Oli Penn, as well as learning a number of the companies that live within the city of Sequim and in the surrounding areas around Port Angeles and Blinn, that actually will most likely be the ones looking at and investing their time and services back into this levy program. One of the things that we try to be very aware of is being very aware of who's both local and regional. The current industry and the current market is rather in an interesting position with how the last year has gone, and understanding how that affects how the bidding practices of various trades are happening and the availability of resources will help us better manage and plan out these projects. One of the things that it allows us to do is really look at what's available within the Sequim community. Working in the region, we understand that pretty much anything that we do here is going to affect everybody within the community. It's going to affect the children of the community. It's going to affect the roadways, the traffic through the area, and understand that the displacement for any of these projects may or may not have to have a little bit of a different view to them. As a small community, we understand that you guys have been affected by the school closures. Now that everything's starting to get up and running, we want to be very aware of how those closures will affect you going forward. One of the things that we kind of look at it is that to make sure that the project management services that we're providing show that we care about the trust that the people of Sequim have provided you with their taxes in this levy and that what they've given to the school district. Heath?
Yeah, I think we want you to know also, one of the things we want you to know about us is that we recognize the importance of stewardship of public funds. That's extremely important. We think it's one of the primary duties of a project manager in these projects in the public arena to take stewardship of those funds. We can't serve your community if we're not taking care of their money. We work really hard to ensure the funds are spent responsibly, efficiently, and effectively, and that they're spent on those projects and objectives that were promised during the levy campaign. That's super important. That's something that we will keep in the foremost and help drive throughout the process. We also, look for opportunities to supplement funds, supplement those local funds. Most common things are if we can help to achieve some energy incentives, which would definitely be applicable here. Sometimes that can really help to get a few things extra done that weren't planned, or help build some extra contingency into a program. Or if we can work to roll some of these projects in with some available E-rate funds is another common way that we can help grow these funds. And then there's also various grants and things that may be able to be applied for, especially with the length of the runway on these projects. The fact that we're going to have to meter them out a little bit, it should give us time to really comb the earth for some extra funds, which is just always good practice. We know we're aware of how important bond measures are to school districts, and we're because we've been involved in so many of them, we're acutely aware of the fact that how these projects go can either be a good thing or a bad thing in your next bond campaign. And if they're done right and in the right way, it can really be a trust builder with the community, between the community and the school district, and really help you out. And we want to make that happen. We want to be part of that solution. And we're familiar with these things. We know these things because we have a really strong track record with school projects. We've essentially started and built this company on the strength of our K through 12 efforts. We do other work also, but and we have fingers in other places, but we predominantly do K through 12 work, and it's something that we like, and it matches up with our values, and that's why we keep right on doing it. Our project team and employees, amongst us, we have dozens of school district projects, and so we know what it's like. We know what it means to operate, the complexities of operating occupied campuses. We understand all of that, and we've been there, and we know how to work with you to get a solution that works. The occupied campuses, that's important. School districts work different than hospitals or casinos or shopping malls, and it's important to have that experience and knowledge to know how to work around those things on an active campus. Anything to add to that, Chris?
Actually, that's a good. I'm glad you asked. There's actually one of the major projects that you guys have listed is the heating system replacement for Sequim High School, and understanding how you can sequence the construction in order to actually zone the amount of shutdowns that are happening, allow you to actually utilize an active space until the last fair minute or with the minimum amount of disruption. So there's different ways to really approach both the design side and the implementation of the project, which give efficiency to the installation as well as allowing utilization of as much of the facility as possible during that. So that's one of the things that we'll work constantly with the facilities, with the district, as well as the contractors, to make sure that that's being taken into consideration.
Just one more touch point on that, we focus on making sure that work done on operating sites and while kids and teachers are teaching and learning, safety is foremost. We got to keep those people safe, but everybody always talks about safety, and it is the first and most important thing, but we understand it's also important that we can educate kids during this process, right? We don't lose sight of the fact that that is what the school's there for. It's not there for a construction project, it's there to educate kids. And that can affect the way things need to be done, and it should affect the way things need to be done, especially when we're just welcoming all these kids back from COVID and they haven't had opportunities. And we don't want anything that we're doing construction-wise to limit their opportunities when they come back. Wherever we can, we want to get opportunities for them. And the last thing we want you to understand is that we prioritize transparent, collaborative, and inclusive processes. It is part of what we do. It is part of our nature. And it is also, I mentioned bond programs and trust with the community. It is so important that we help you to operate these projects in a transparent manner so that people can see what's going on and understand that things are going smoothly and according to plan and that they are being done in the right ways. I wanted to real quick just point out to you that we wanted to just follow up. In our first interview, we heard a lot of concern about the cash flow and management of that and how to organize projects around that. And just as a kind of a response to that, we wanted to just give you a glimpse of what that might look like when you work with us, as far as the kind of reporting we do on costs. We don't have time to go into it. There's a lot there, and the sheet probably doesn't make sense to you unless you're somebody like me who just loves spreadsheets. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So these spreadsheets are actually from Walla Walla, project that Heath is working on right now. He did get permission to share them. So this is a excerpt from a multi-page, a little bit of detail here. You can see it broken down by school, and then go ahead, Tracy, to the next page. And this is a higher level single page dashboard approach to presenting data. So it's easy to digest, quick to spot trouble, and be able to respond. So,
and that first sheet is actually a portion of a large bond project, but it's the portion that kind of matches up with your program. It's a bunch of district-wide projects, small projects at various schools, and this is really only part of the sheet, but I didn't want it to be so small nobody could read it.
Right. All right, thank you, Heath. Thanks, Chris. So as we wrap up, we're up against the clock here. So Tracy mentioned you probably wouldn't have questions, but certainly wanted to give you the opportunity if something has occurred to you to ask. So pause for a moment. All right, we got one hand up.
Just checking with the chair. Okay for questions, Brandon?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that's Director Coos. Sorry, I was muted on both things. Our local Excel spreadsheet geek. So
yes,
we found it.
We're out there, and we all have the same sickness. So thank you for sharing this. I've got a ton of questions, but I'll stick with one. And shortness of time is, I am of the belief that not only we, the district and the board, opted to go for the biggest of the three packages we were looking at, but that the strong response from the community means that we really want to do it right, quote unquote right. I think your relationship with the tribe is fantastic because they do nothing half-cocked. And I fully expect, frankly, the new facility to be, quality and like they always do. how, I guess, is there, I'm assuming there's a tension when you're working on any project, certainly when there's a lot of folks. Well, we've got this solution and it's done okay, or other places say this does okay, but then we've got this nicer one that may be a little bit more, but maybe stronger reputation or something like that, or comes with, more support. What's your approach at addressing that? Because we are, teaming y'all up with our various directors here who we've entrusted with their roles. So I'm just kind of curious as far as what your approach is to that dialogue or that evolution of discussion.
Let me go ahead and take that, Keith, real quick. So one of the things that we try to emphasize, especially with the designers and with the contractors, is that yes, cheaper is cheaper, but there are always costs to cheaper, and you have to look at the long-term effects, which oftentimes contractors and even a lot of times design teams are not looking at the long-term impacts. So whereas we may have multiple options, we want the multiple options presented with what the materials are. Where, for example, if we look at a material that's, say, 10% more expensive, but you get a 5-year warranty on that material or lifespan on that material instead of 1 year, the maintenance costs on the school district, that we try to identify those items and lay that in the analysis on what our recommendations would be to proceed. It isn't always necessarily just lowest cost, because lowest overall cost to the district as a whole definitely plays into it. And we encourage putting those forward, both by the contractor, who often has really great ideas, as well as the design teams, who sometimes worry about going for the cheapest point.
Yeah, so just let me wrap that up and recognize we have to look at the whole horizon for the entire levy, and the scope and the schedule and decisions, although it can't be made casually on the front end to sacrifice the back end of the projects, the tier 3, tier 4 projects. So keeping that overall focus in mind as well is very important. All right, we've got another hand, but I want to be sensitive to time. I looked at your agenda.
I'll jump in here. That's Director Stauffer. If we could make this real quick, we have probably a minute and a half left. So
Speed round.
Yep.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for this presentation, and I especially appreciative of your message on the smaller schools, the smaller design, so forth. And with you operating here locally, as I guess that's a question to the rest of the board. Can we take a walkthrough of or meet you in person on what you're at your current project? But otherwise, thank you for being here, and I know we're not making a decision tonight, so thank you.
Yeah, understand that. From our standpoint, absolutely, we would love to. And when I saw there was a public aspect to the meeting, was going to be, obviously there's not now, but was going to be, I wanted to take the opportunity to come meet with you in person, as well as the rest of our team that could. But obviously that didn't play out. So if that opportunity presents itself, absolutely. And we'd love to when we're in town with you. So looks like our frenemies are joining the meeting as well. So just want to wrap it up, say thank you for the opportunity. Rob, I'll do the wrap if you don't mind. So and we really do hope the best for you and support your choice. You've got a couple good choices here, but feel like that we can deliver what you need. So with that, we'll turn it over to you. I understand June 7th is the date, or yeah, June 7th. So thank you, Dr. Bryan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. We'll sign off.
Thank you, guys.
Oops. There I am.
All righty, I think we are ready for our next presentation with Vanir.
All right, great to be here. Good evening, all. I want to thank the staff and the school board for this opportunity to further discuss your levy program and what the local Vanir team brings to the table for your levy's successful execution. Let's see, next slide. There we go. Okay. First off, I want to discuss a little bit about Vanir. Vanir was founded in 1980 as a construction management firm focused on delivering K through 12 projects. Vanir further expanded into the Northwest in 1994, continuing to excel in K through 12 delivery, providing construction management, project management expertise to Highline, Everett, Tacoma, and of course, the Sequim School District recently. The Port Angeles office has been providing CM and PM services since 2012, and we're currently working as owners representatives for the Quileute K through 12 school design build project in La Push. Vanir is a leader in K through 12 delivery using all types of project delivery methods, which will be important, including design bid build, but also design build, energy savings performance contracts like we provided on the Sequim Kitchen, and of course KCDA procurement, which the district is familiar with and which we'd like to explore further for some of these projects executions. And lastly, additionally, the Port Angeles office has great reach back capabilities for additional construction contracting expertise from both our Northwest office in Renton and our corporate office, if so desired or required. All right, next slide. Okay, I'd like to take the next moments to introduce the local Port Angeles team. Many of you are familiar with us. I'm Craig Fulton, Project Director, and I'll be responsible for ensuring the project is delivered on time, on budget, and exceeding the client's quality expectations. Kristen Hellberg is the project manager. She has experience working with both the city and the county on the kitchen project, so she knows the people and staff, their processes, and the requirements that they will be needing. She's also familiar with the school district staff and will work with them closely on the requirements. She also has extensive experience in KCDA contracting, which is an important alternative delivery methods for this levy project, and I know the school is already looking into that. Dan Mcnay will be the primary construction manager, and he'll be supplemented by John Turk. Both have experience in all aspects of construction, locally and across Washington. Dan is well known for developing innovative solutions to save money and time, and has hands-on experience, really extensive experience on utility construction, which is part of the levy program. His expertise on utilities is demonstrated by his success on the Port Angeles Combined Sewer Overflow Project, completed several years ago. John Turk previously worked for McKinstry, and as you're aware, McKinstry delivered the kitchen project, and he also has extensive additional K through 12 construction experience, which is outlined in his resume, and you can look that up further. In summary, this team has a proven track record of successful project delivery. Next slide. So one of the things I want to talk about is program management. Before we start on this project, Vanir would take a deep dive into the levy program, looking how it was developed and the assumptions made, basically performing a full program review. We did that on the Sequim Kitchen project and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars on that execution. As you're aware, unlike bonds, where funding is available up front, levy funding accumulates over time. Thus, projects must be carefully scheduled and budgeted into that cash flow that's expected. And we need a clear understanding of those cash flow constraints so we can make recommendations to the school district. Of course, project prioritization is critical to ensure the highest priority projects are executed with the first dollars available. And I know the school district's already looking at that. Again, as levy cash flow is limited, the cash flow must be analyzed against the priorities projects to further define when and how projects can be executed. Cash flow must be looked at not only for the hard costs, which we're all familiar with, it's the meat and potatoes of construction, but also you need to look at the ability to pay the soft costs. What are soft costs? It's cost for design, permitting, PMCM services, third-party inspections if required, and of course contingency. Many times clients don't fully factor in the soft costs, and that affects project execution and the overall program budget. Following on with that, to offset any expected levy shortfalls, and everybody has seen the commodity prices skyrocketing across the nation in Washington, we need to also look at supplemental funding for the levy. Vanir will work with the district to identify additional funding either through grants, school capital reserves, which I know the staff is already looking at to execute projects for this summer. But upcoming now, and hopefully you're aware of it, I'm sure you are, is the ESSER 3 funds. SQUIM has received about $700,000 in ESSER 1 funds, $2.7 million in ESSER 2 funds, and those were primarily focused on operational shortfalls of school districts. ESSER 3 funds is what we're learning from many school districts. They're looking to use those funds to tap into capital projects. SQUIM is looking to be allocated $6 million in ESSER 3 funds, and that could be a great supplemental funding for the levy program. So layered on top of prioritization and cash flow is scheduling. How can projects be executed to minimize impacts to the educational system? We can't impact the education of the school children. So only after this deep dive into the levy program will we start focusing on the project plans and the development and execution. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Kristen Hellberg, who's going to discuss our project management flow.
Thank you, Craig. For SQUIM's capital levy project scope, my project management approach will be to suggest KCDA contracts be utilized for the majority of the work. The district will not have to go out for bid or quote, and this saves budget dollars while also providing design and engineering expertise with the extensive KCDA vendor list. For the small amount of A&E required services, we can assist with our owner-managed contract capabilities. We'll prepare owner contracting, which will provide the district with managed third-party oversight of deliverables from architectural and engineering firms. An independent review of design positions the district for the best outcome. Our Vanir Port Angeles team has worked with the district previously, therefore we are aware that you have schools both within the city limits of SQUIM and in Clallam County. Vanir has experience working with both entities. We have relationships with inspectors and planners and understand their permitting and processing of inspections. We worked with the agencies on behalf of the district on portable installation, community school deconstruction, and the kitchen build out. Our team has extensive knowledge of local firms, not only in the A&E fields, but excellent available contractors in the Olympic Peninsula. We're able to advise the district from our extended pool of professional resources within our own community. My approach to project management is meticulous tracking and communication. All stakeholders, including administrators, teachers, and maintenance staff, must receive timely and effective communication regarding scheduling, budget, and issues. Discussing issues early allows a team approach to resolution. Communicating early and often is Vanir's approach to a successful project. And now to our construction managers, Dan Mcnay and John Turk.
Thank you, Kristen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Mcnay, and I want to give you a little bit of background on what my approach to the construction management audit project is. One of the things that we take great pride is in knowing the plans, specs, and the contract better than the contractor themselves. That's essential. Preparation, working knowledge, experience, adaptation, and flexibility are also key to making any project come together on time and within budget. I'm very much a plans A, B, and C type person. To be able to keep a project moving, have to be able to adjust and shift assets and work plans to be able to work when you run into hurdles on a project, and that's kind of that whole process. As Craig mentioned earlier, I am the person on site and heavily involved on all aspects of construction to ensure proper quality control and assurance. Essentially, I herd the cats and tame the wolves on a project. Good communication and detailed documentation are crucial to success. Detailed inspection reports, photos, videos, and drone footage are just some of the tools I utilize in my daily work to bring successful and award-winning projects with accurate project final records and as-builts. I work to coordinate and evaluate designs, work elements, logistics, and equipment, and to identify potential cost savings before and during construction as these opportunities arise. And by analyzing life cycle costs versus potential upgrades, if equipment is compatible, real-world cost estimating, design management and implementation, constructability reviews, and one very important element, coordination with the maintenance staff on design decisions and implementation to ensure a quality and serviceable finished product, and to have the proper O&M documentation for future reference for repairs and also for replacement and maintenance intervals. Cost savings during construction is another item that we take great pride in. This kind of circles back to my previous points of adaptation, preparation, working knowledge, experience, and flexibility. Those elements are key to making that happen, with the plan A, B, and C method, of course, also as a big part of that. One great example of this in real time was on your central kitchen project and the school demolition and deconstruction was the foundation steam tunnel concrete that many of you might be aware of, that was missed by the contractor in the demo scope of the project due to lack of investigation and some little bit of documentation issues. The details around the issue were leading to the potential of a large change order for the contractor, with disposal costs were very high due to the fact of him not being a local contractor. He's getting out of town prices from the local dump sites up to $23 a ton just for dump fees. That's not any of the handling fees and of course the demolition portion itself. So a creative solution I offered up to the team to utilize some savings was based on my construction experience, and that's bringing in a mobile crusher to recycle the concrete into gravel and bury it on site rather than hauling it off, which led to keeping the cost of that work in line with the budget. And as you can see in the corner, the lower corner of the slide there, that work is actually ongoing right there during that construction process. And the potential cost savings of around $75,000 or quite much more than that in potential cost impacts were successfully avoided with that method. As I said, that number is very conservative. And as a closing statement, that's just one example of how I apply that methodology. And our team is proud to utilize these tools to deliver projects for our clients with exceptional quality and performance on time and on budget. Now to speak on the next very important subject, safety, I'm going to pass it off to Mr. John Turk.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Well, we all know that safety is the most important aspect of construction, point blank, period. My team and I have an extensive track record of delivering projects safely in many districts, including Everett, Seattle, Port Angeles, and Tacoma. In my time before Vanir, I had the opportunity of doing work with Lake Washington, Mukilteo, North Shore, and of course your swim school district. With that in mind, we have the district's concerns and needs in mind when it comes to delivering projects safely in the K-12 setting. We are committed to safety, and we are proficient in all the vital aspects of safety management, some of which include background processes, continuing with COVID protocol, creating hazard assessments, suggesting managerial safety measures. So to kind of drill down on a few of those, with regards to background check processes, I worked on a project for the Snohomish County in a critical infrastructure area. We had over 50 subs and sub-consultants that needed not only access badges and key cards, but fingerprinting coordinated with the local sheriff's office and also criminal justice systems information training. So
a lot more robust of a background check process. So I think that we're pretty well versed to handle what we have coming up. With regards to COVID, it's very important that we stay on top of any changing protocol as they become known. We can also recommend additional safety measures if the district requires so for peace of mind for the staff and students. On a Green River project in Auburn, we did this for the owner at a small marginal cost by increasing the filters in the air handling units from MERV 9s to MERV 11s, also increasing the outside air intake so there's less recirculated air in the building in general. As far as creating efficient hazard communications, we're going to work with our subs to make sure we have timely and efficient site-specific safety plans and also workflow plans. That's really helpful with aiding the district and communicating with the community, students, and staff what's going on a high level and also where the hazards may be. With regards to suggesting or reviewing managerial safety measures, there's a few things that we can do to leverage our knowledge of the district activities to help maybe the general contractor's schedule work more safely. That was actually implemented on the Swim Kitchen project when Vanir made note that the students' pickup and drop-off times may coincide with on-site deliveries. And so to avoid any potential risk there, we just blocked that date out. So those are the few tangible ways we can, on the ground, get you the best bang for your buck. So wrapping that all up, we have a well-rounded and well-honed team. We know that you have some unique challenges and opportunities with your forthcoming capital levy projects, and we look forward to solving those and working with you. Now back to Craig.
All right, thank you much, John. I'd like to just summarize on this last slide on closing and emphasize why Vanir is the Port Angeles team is the best choice. First, Vanir continues to be the K-12 industry leader across the company, from corporate office down to the local Port Angeles office. As you're all aware, we are your local strategic resource. We are embedded into the local community, and we're members of the local construction and business associations, along with being active members on the Chambers of Commerce. We work and we live on the peninsula, and we will continue, no matter what decisions are made with the district, we will continue to support the school district's back-to-school events that are happening this fall, which are so important to many of the local families. As demonstrated on the school kitchen, we have a proven track record of success, even when unforeseen conditions hit a project, as demonstrated by recommending and executing numerous programmatic and project cost-saving initiatives on the Swim Kitchen project, saving the school district hundreds of thousands of dollars through the process. Again, Vanir is experienced in all forms of project delivery, which would be critical to efficiently and effectively execute the project within levy and potential supplemental funds available. Finally, all projects have challenges, and Vanir has a proven record of tackling those challenges head on to deliver success. For example, the portable classrooms additions to the kitchen project under extremely short timelines, requiring both city and county permitting processes, getting contractors under contract very quickly, was one such example of our flexibility and ability to adapt to changing situations. In closing, we look forward to working with the Swim School District again and successfully delivering your levy projects for the local community. With that, I'll take any questions the school board might have.
Okay, Brian.
Just checking we have time.
Yeah, I think we're good.
We're okay. All right.
Quick. Yeah.
I do have one question, but I think I'd be remiss not to make a statement, and I don't want to put this out there as it's a slam dunk, if you will. But Craig, Dan, and Kristen, she turned her video off. Great to see you again. And from my perspective as the previous board chair, the experience with Vanir was top notch in the previous projects. So I think it's important to share that with you. That is an advantage you have, is the history with the district here. And I believe the term on time and under budget was, what was shared around the office. So that certainly is a feather in your cap and speaks to the quality of the work that y'all have done for us before. The question I have is, and this was the same question I asked the other firm, it's my belief, not only with the last capital projects levy and the quality of work completed therein, but this board opted to go for the largest financial package for this next levy, and it received strong support from the community. And I believe that is a testament to the level of quality that this community is desiring for the projects, and whether it's the HVAC at the high school, whether it's our IT infrastructure, whether it's a new classroom or anything of that nature. How do y'all balance that that constant challenge? And I'll throw myself as an example. I'm always the guy looking to save a few bucks, looking for value, if you will. Now I know value is subjective, but how do you balance that in your management approach in working with folks like me who are, looking to maximize the budget versus putting in something that is more quality, an enterprise level solution versus the maybe the the hobbyist solution I might propose for a project?
I think, Brian, thank you for the opportunity for the questions. I think that all comes down to communication. Everyone has to know what the budget is, what changes are coming up, what value engineering we have to do, what we have to value engineer, as in look for better pricing, but not removing quality, those kind of things. Again, communication. Just everyone needs to know what's happening on the project and what we are planning to do, so that we all are on the same page.
Yeah, if I can add into that, when I talked about program management, we really need to focus on what projects are absolute priority, 1 through 15, and then once we have those priority projects that must get done, then we have to look at, okay, what must get done at a certain level of quality. And for operations, as your operations staff knows, there are different levels of operational quality that you put on based on the funding available. And that's what we need to make some hard decisions. What are the priorities, and what are the levels of quality that we want in each of those projects? Then we have to marry that up to what's the existing cash flow, and what can we bring to the table as far as supplemental funding to offset any cash flow constraints that can then allow us to increase quality with additional funds.
Thank you, Craig. I got a shout out to, you're the first person to bring up ESSER 3 funding. I don't think that's widely known, so kudos for mentioning that and the sizable dollar that I've heard kicked around the water cooler.
Okay, we've got a hand, Jim, and we're almost 5 minutes past our time, so let's make this quick.
Just to comment, thank you very much to see you here, Vanir, and we'll be discussing as a board, but thank you for this presentation. All the best.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, thank you. Appreciate
thank you, Craig,
Yes.
Kristen, and gang. We appreciate the presentation, and we'll be figuring this out later.